Android users, you can now have TYT in the palm of your hand. Our TYT app is available for download in the Google Play Store. Just go to tyt.com/app to find out more.
Twitter has decided to suspend Alex Jones for 7 days, 1 week, following the discovery of a video that he had tweeted where he was inciting violence. Now, he has been banned from various social media platforms, and the reason why he was banned, in my opinion, has to do with the fact that he is inciting violence. That's something that no one should be allowed to do. I don't care, whether or not you're a free speech activist or not. Free speech does not protect inciting violence. And even in this case, we're not talking about the federal government. Of course, we're talking about private companies. But even in a federal government situation, the government does not protect this kind of speech. The Constitution does not protect this kind of speech. But anyway, people don't understand that. It drives me crazy. So with that said, you can tell I'm bitter about this, right? Because the arguments are so incredibly ignorant, drives me nuts. So finally, Twitter decides, okay, here's a video of him inciting violence. We got to do something about it. So let's go ahead and suspend him for 7 days. We'll have a discussion about whether or not that makes sense, but I want you guys to judge for yourselves by watching the video that Alex Jones had tweeted. Take a look.
It now stands with you and the US military, who I know already understand who the Chi-Com operatives and the traitors are, to understand who's trying to take the First Amendment. We're under attack, and you know that. You've pointed out mainstream media is the enemy. But now it's time to act on the enemy before they do a false flag. I know the Justice Department's crippled a bunch of followers and cowards, but there's groups, there's grand juries, you call for it. It's time politically and economically and judiciously and legally and criminally to move against these people. It's got to be done now. And let's go, let's do it, because they're coming. America needs to know that they've got their little pathetic commie red teams ready. And they've got their targets picked out. The sheriffs, the judges, the police chiefs, the patriots, the veterans, the talk show host, everybody. And everybody's gonna be amazed when they come, when those cowards come. And it's gonna hit in the middle of the night, and they're coming. And they're coming. And they're coming. They think they can really take down America. This is it. So people need to have their battle rifles and everything ready at their bedsides, and you gotta be ready.
Okay, so here are the problematic parts of that insane rant. Now is the time to act on the mainstream media, and he says get the battle rifles ready. Okay, that incites violence. If you want to have a discussion or a monologue where you're critical of the mainstream media, have at it. Of course, you're able to do that, and I would support it even if I disagree with what you're saying. You are not allowed to incite violence against anyone, including the mainstream press. You're just not. That is not protected speech based on what our Constitution says. And when it comes to private companies, if they're concerned about that kind of speech, they have the ability to do whatever they want, whether it's suspend you or block you. The thing is, he hasn't learned anything. And the thing that Facebook did wrong was their lame excuse or their lame reasoning for blocking him. No, don't block people for hate speech, right? I mean, people disagree with me on that. Some people think you should be blocked for hate speech. I don't think that's the case. I don't agree with that, but I certainly do not agree with inciting violence and having direct targets and encouraging your listeners and your viewers to go after those targets. That's insane. But people think like, oh no, but I like to talk about conspiracy theories on my show too, so are they gonna block me? I mean, people are worried about themselves. How about don't incite violence and you have nothing to worry about? It's just so pathetic, man. Because here's the thing, we're not interested in protecting Americans. We're not worried about people's safety. We're not worried about, parents who lost their 6-year-old in the Sandy Hook shooting getting harassed and targeted and doxxed by numerous people who watch Alex Jones and believe his conspiracy theories. We're not worried about protecting them, right? A woman went to prison for 5 months because of what she was doing to that family, right? We don't care about them. We care about Alex Jones. But here's the thing, we don't even care about Alex Jones. Everyone's worried about their own ass. Like, oh my God, what if I get censored? Well, if you're not doing anything wrong, I will fight as aggressively as I need to make sure you don't get banned. But someone like Alex Jones, he deserves to be banned because he incites violence. That is not protected speech. And I wish Facebook and all the other platforms were clear about that. Because saying that you're getting rid of someone for hate speech is is not the right way to go about it.
But they're concerned with being misunderstood and crazy fans going, I can't believe you stopped my Messiah's free speech to say insane things and try to get people murdered. But I guarantee you, if the parents of one of those kids that was killed in Sandy Hook threatened this guy, they would be they'd be suspended, they'd probably be arrested, and probably doing time for the same things that he's inciting others to do. So he sends his minions out to do things. I mean, Comet Pizza, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. That guy goes to jail, but who's still on the air talking? This guy. This is how it works. You can send off your soldiers to do your work and go to jail and then continue on and even use those instances of them going to jail, be like, you see, the groups are coming to get you. How many times did he growl and get you? No. They're coming and they're coming. Like, it sounds like a cartoon, but people who read into that, their fear is rising. And then when people get afraid, especially in this country with the number of guns and weapons that we're told we have to use because it's a birthright to go shoot someone in the face, they go, well, isn't this the turn of our country's freedom? We're supposed to go kill.
He did a video accusing Robert Mueller of having sex with children and running a sex ring. How is that okay? How is it okay to do that?
But that would fall under the free speech.
But here's
it's
the thing.
insanity, but it falls under.
But it does not fall under free speech if you state that as a fact. If you say, I think Robert Mueller is doing X, Y, and Z, that is protected because you're saying it's your opinion. He reports it as if it's fact, right? And so, look, Robert Mueller's got all the protection in the world. He's gonna be fine. But when you go after private citizens who are now, unfortunately, in the public eye because they lost their kids in a mass shooting, they don't have those resources. They can't protect themselves. That's where the issue is.
The heinousness of Alex Jones really is all in the Sandy Hook thing. You don't really need to go much beyond it. You can go beyond it, and we have, and we've detailed, and I'm sure that we'll detail more. But the idea that Sandy Hook, the horror of Sandy Hook, which should have provoked legislation on guns, which certainly brought us all to great sympathies to that family, to those families involved. The fact that that could be exploited for some crap about how there were crisis actors and it was all phony. I mean, it's heinous. It's the only word that comes to mind. It's obscene. And I personally believe that we sanitize these stories with all these shootings, these mass shootings, and that's a great one that I can use as an example. You see the yellow tape, but you don't see the horror of those elementary school kids with their brains and bodies splayed out by bullets. So Alex Jones then can come on and say, hey, it wasn't even real. These are all crisis actors. And then to the point that individuals who subscribe to Alex Jones and follow him like some messianic creature, they can then do his bidding and go after these grieving families.
And that's what's been happening.
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting. So Jack Dorsey, who is the CEO of Twitter, had a conversation with Lester Holt, and the topic of suspension versus ban came up. And here was the reasoning behind Twitter suspending Alex Jones rather than banning him.
You've taken action against him in this instance. What is it? Can you tell us what it is?
I believe we put him in a timeout, removing his ability to tweet for a time period.
A timeout seems minor compared to the implications of someone suggesting a call to arms against a particular group, in this case, the media. How do you respond to that?
Well, I feel, any suspension, whether it be a permanent one or a temporary one, makes someone think about their actions and their behaviors. And
you think Alex Jones is going to change his behavior based on a timeout?
I don't know. We have found that it does have the potential to impact and change behavior. So whether it works within this case to change some of those behaviors and change some of those actions, I don't know.
It worked on the 12-year-old kid that was tweeting, bullying things about her friend in middle school. It worked on her. We found from other instances it works. When we put teenagers on timeout, it really hurts them for those 7 days. So they come back and they change their tune. Get out of here.
Yeah. So look, whatever, it's a private company. They can do what they want to do. So if they want to suspend him rather than ban him, that's their decision. But for the platforms who have made the decision to ban him, come out and explain clearly why he deserves to be banned. Because when you say you're against hate speech, that That leads to a fear among all sorts of people who think they're the next to be targeted, and no one should be targeted for sharing their opinion on whatever it is. I mean, people are making hate speech videos about me right now, and it's fine. Do you, boo? Right? I will fight for your right to put those videos up. But you cannot incite violence against innocent people. It is a dangerous thing to do, especially in a country like the United States where we're swimming in guns and mental health issues.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.